Okay, guys, let's roll. I got our poll results. Which country provides the greatest threat to world peace? Should we have a look at the poll? See what you guys said? Well, 145 people responded in a couple of days. Could have left it up longer, but we need the real estate. Which country is the biggest threat to world peace? 14% of you think America, 9% of you think Russia, 44%, a large number of you, think Russia is our biggest threat, and 32% of you got the answer correct, Israel. Well, I would say that, wouldn't I? Before we go any further, let's talk about America and its seizure of a Russian tanker on the open seas, an act of piracy. Shall we? We'll leave the poll there so you can see it. When America seized the Russian tanker or tankers, I thought, Russia's going to take that. But that was my old military thinking, I guess. Being gung-ho. You hit me, now I'm going to hit you back. But of course, fortunately, there are cooler heads in Moscow than in Blaina, South Wales. So why didn't Russia respond in kind? Yeah? I went and had a look into the reasons why that might be the case. Well, first of all, Russia gains more by looking restrained than by looking angry. Optics matter, we all know that. Tit for tat seizure, yeah, that would satisfy people like me, but strategically it would indeed be costly. If Russia did respond by seizing, say, Western tankers, it hands America, the globalists, the neocons, those at the top of the pyramid who control the Western media, that Russia is escalating, pushing for war, and strengthens their narrative that Russia is really a destabilizing actor on the world stage, contrary to what it really is. And it would risk pushing neutral shipping nations, India, China, Gulf states, into distancing themselves from Russia, which would obviously benefit the West. At the moment now then, Moscow, President Putin benefits from appearing to be measured, patient and lawful, especially to non-Western audiences. America's got a big stick, yeah, and we've seen she's prepared to use it. Many of her allies are not there because they love America. They are there because they are frightened of America. Like South America is becoming frightened of America. They've just wielded the big stick in Venezuela. Yeah. So around the world, America is not loved. Neither are we British. The butcher's apron and all that. The world has a long memory. So escalation, if Russia were to respond, sorry, that would favor that would favor Russia's enemies, the West. Russia doesn't really see the people of Europe, America, or the UK as enemies. They do see the globalists as enemies of the world. Yeah. Russia believes in a multipolar world, individual nation states. Yeah. So there's that. Anyhow, if Russia were to respond, it would just justify increased NATO naval patrols, calls for from the American government to say to their population, hey guys, look at America. Look at what Russia's doing. We need to rearm. We've got to give the arms dealers more money. We've got to provide more weapons. We've got to stop them in Ukraine. And I'll be coming to Ukraine shortly. So, what else would it do? Increase insurance bans and shipping restrictions. Russia's well aware that America controls the rules of maritime escalation because it dominates the global legal insurance media frameworks. I can see Russia actually starting to open up their own insurance companies, not just for their own vessels, but for vessels from around the world that are not aligned, right? Pause that, Paul. Yeah, so what can Russia do then? Well, they can reroute their exports. They'll find a way. They always do. They can use non-Western insurers for their vessels. They'll do that if they don't create their own insurance companies. And they can continue to sell oil at a discount to willing buyers. Don't forget, Russia's got cheap oil, cheap gas, and lots of resources, yeah? Which the globalists want, not to benefit their people. And then Russia can retaliate sometime down the road with its own timetable. You can bet this is pissing the Americans off, who thought that Russia would retaliate in kind. I've said before, I really admire President Putin. The world should be thankful that Russia has a leader with such a cool head and a brilliant foreign secretary, Lavrov. Yeah, a real diplomat. Anyhow, these seizures, it's a bit of a grey zone. There's insurance problems, port state controls, safety issues. If Russia were to respond in kind, cross the same line that America's crossed, all ambiguity disappears, and then it becomes an outright confrontation between the Russians and the Americans. By not responding, President Putin can say, well, we've exercised restraint, others did not. The world's looking on now and seeing that, hey, Russia's not escalating. She's been the victim in this. And she's restraining herself. She wants international law to prevail. When Russia responds, it probably won't be taking an American tanker. It'll probably be legal action. International maritime bodies will be involved. Could put pressure on shipping choke points. Could do something with the energy pricing. Behind the scenes pressure on insurers and registries. Then again, their response could be from a completely different direction. What's going in Russia's favor? Military endurance, economic survivability, energy leverage, that's a big one. She's got a lot of that. And we've seen that she's resistant to sanctions. Seizing an American tanker wouldn't add nothing to that, nothing at all. Could in fact detract from those advantages. No. Russia hasn't responded because, in short, escalation benefits its opponents, the global elite. Restraint is strengthening its international position in the eyes of the world, and time is working in its favour. The West has got a short memory. We'll come back to the West's short memory in a moment. No, we don't know what their real response would be. If the Russians were like me, there would have already been a response. There would have been a seized tanker and a crisis. Luckily, there's cooler heads. My thumb would already be reaching for the red button. Well, so I think that's the answer to why America hasn't responded to the tanker attacks. I think now, let's think about, yes, someone did say that I didn't include the UK and the EU on that list. Why? Well, I only had 4 options available. Pause, Paul, dogs up and about. Okay guys, turning now to the UK and the European Union. France and the UK have said that their governments will vote on sending troops to Ukraine. Yeah, as if that's going to happen. Do they forget what this war was about in Ukraine? It was about the advancement of NATO towards Russia. Never in a month of Sundays will Russia allow NATO troops to be stationed in Ukraine. In fact, Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, I like her, warned that placing Western troops, military bases, storage facilities, or other infrastructure on Ukrainian territory would constitute foreign intervention, posing a direct threat to Russia and other European countries. And that was over on their official website. It's like they forget. This, don't they? And the Germans who were rearming. Russia's a big country. Is it the biggest country in the world? I don't know. But it's big. And it's got General Winter on its side, isn't it? The French learned that in 1812. And the Germans learned it in 1945. Yeah. The Americans don't really want to go there. I don't see that happening. But the UK and the EU are in a mess. And it favours America for the UK and EU to continue arming the Ukraine. First of all, their arms dealers are making millions, aren't they? Oh yes, it favours America. Arms dealers continuing to make money. Europe being weakened by continuing to support Ukraine, pouring their resources into Ukraine, weakening Russia. Yeah, it suits America to keep this conflict going. That's why there's no real peace there. They don't want peace. Russia wants peace. But, and Russia will win in the end. Let's go back to our poll. China. That's a big one, guys. I'm not sure why 44% of you thought that China was a big threat to the world. In fact, what I'll do is I'll let you people respond in the comments as to why China is a bigger threat. The question was the greatest threat to world peace. I voted, well, I didn't vote. I can't actually vote. And I said Israel. And why Israel? Because Israel pulls the strings of America, or rather, those at the top of the pyramid pull the strings of America. America will never be free. It might be the land of the brave, but it's not the home of the free as long as Israel controls it. And Israel only cares about Israel. Every other nation on the earth exists in the Israeli mind only to assist them to achieve their aim of a greater Israel. So that's who I think the biggest threat to world peace is. And we can see that with the way the globalist media is pushing for war against Iran. But you people aren't blind. You already know that. Anyhow, this video really was just to show the results of the poll. You know what? I'm going to do something different now. I'm fed up with talking about politics and stuff like that. The next video is going to be a poetry one. Or it might even be a song from the 60s. I don't know. But I'm going to do something different in the next one. Okay, guys, you've been listening to Paul Morris, the Green Arrow, talking about which country provides the greatest threat to world peace. If you answered Israel, you were correct. See you on the next one.